You have tuned into The Voice of Medicine, the medical podcast filled with remarkable stories, first-hand experience, important research, and valuable life lessons. Open your mind, relax, and enjoy. Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Voice of Medicine. Yeah, today we have quite the special topic. Today's episode is going to be dedicated to sports and training. So all of you couch potatoes out there should totally listen in today. Also goes for the other end of the spectrum. So for all the people who are crazy into conditioning training and CrossFit and have more pictures on Instagram of them doing squats or bench pressing 400 pounds, you guys should listen as well. For this episode, I asked a very renowned personal trainer from Georgia because, having people from Germany, Switzerland, and Austria is getting quite boring, right? So I called Nino. Nino Cherkezishvilli is from Georgia. She actually used to work for quite a while in the UK as well. And she has a profound knowledge of sports training and everything around body conditioning. So she will definitely tell us more about quite a number of topics. I would also like to talk to her about the motivational part of physical activity, and I'm very much looking forward to what she has to say. So enjoy the episode, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think about the guests and the topics that we're talking about.
Hi, Mike. Thank you very much for inviting me. Appreciate that very much.
Nino, we're going to talk about a couple of topics today, and I don't want to, let our listeners wait too long, so I'll get straight to it. The first topic I wanted to talk to you about, as you're an accomplished personal trainer, is why is it so hard for some people to get up from, the bed or the couch or whatever they are just sitting on right now and actually get out and exercise?
I think everything comes down to priorities. If you're a very busy person, and most of us obviously they are very busy, and all of them they have like different priorities, right? If they are too much into their business or too much into their office work, the exercising, physical activity, it's not really the thing what will make them to get up from the bed and get out from their comfort zone. And even when they are tired after their work, they can go after their work and go and work out by themselves, unless they are not paying for that. And at least like something makes them to do that, either trainer or it's about the money or so on and so on. I think at the bottom line is the priorities, and obviously we as a human beings, for some reason ourselves, we feel we don't appreciate our bodies, ourselves as much as we appreciate the other tasks what we have during the day, and that's why I think our physical activity is getting like left over for some reason. And after, I don't know, for some while, then they understand that it's a very, very, very important, and then they pay to the trainers or they buy some programs so that something makes them to do that. I don't know. My opinion is that, bottom line is priorities.
Okay, so when we talk about the motivational side, you said it's really the point is to have a personal priority in how important is sports for me or the physical activity. I think there might be a difference because you have a lot of people, of course, who are working during the day in whatever kind of job that they maybe have to sit in the office. And don't have enough physical activity. But then you also have a large number of people who maybe do not really have a strenuous job where they have to sit 8-9 hours in a cubicle somewhere in an office, but they still cannot really get themselves out to do something. So it's, on one hand, maybe you have people who don't have the time, or at least they would say that they don't have the time. And then on the other hand, you have people who do have the time, they are just super lazy.
It's. I think it's still also what I've faced here. For example, I used to work in the UK, in London. I used to live there, and now I'm working in Georgia as a personal trainer, and it's a massive difference in the culture. For example, in Western society. Every single person knows that physical activity is must after some certain age. They have some physical activity in terms of to get energy, or to have more energy and to be more motivated and to be more happy. Okay, where here laziness and like couch and going out after work and to have like big meal is more prioritized and than in Western society. I think it's also a cultural difference as well, and also it's how common sense is like physical activity is important into the nation. I think because when I was in the UK, for example, I'd say like even governments, even shops, like everything helps you to be active. Everything kind of reminds you to be active, and that reminds you that you should eat healthy. Where here, it's not really common thing, and it's not, and people are not used to. They don't even know, for example, like let's say like little example, right? When I had a personal client in UK, and if I'd say like, yeah, you should take your protein. Like you should have your protein level in norm during the day, they would know what the protein sources are. Where here, I should explain what the protein sources are. What is protein like at all, or what's the carbohydrates at all? Like what's the sources in the food, the like basic sources, you know. So I think it's a massive difference as well in the culture. How it's like. It's a common and how it's known that physical activity is very important.
Yeah, I see. I understand. So, well, of course, I mean, in I would say in Western countries, also, the system has recognized very quickly that the costs of health problems due to non-activity are just very high. And I think that's why they started this, educational programs and starting, for a couple of years now, explaining people why is it important to actually move around, even though sometimes it is strenuous and it's I mean, it's hard and not really always pleasurable, but there is a reason why we have to do it. Among other things, it's so we don't lose muscle mass and then get more susceptible to bone breaking, for example, for the older population. But it's of course also because of obesity, diabetes, and all these things, cardiovascular problems, which are connected to physical activity. So I understand that there is also a part of culture, and of course connected to that is the educational question about, do people actually know what's going on, as you explained. I would like to ask you. So let's say we have our average person, right, and they actually they decide that they now really want to do some sports. The thing that I often see, not only among our my personal friends, but also if I talk to people and they tell me stories, like anecdotal stories of their life, is what I hear is the problem that people start, I would say, on a very like high intense level with sports, and of course they are totally destroyed after 2-3 weeks, and then they don't want to touch it anymore, so how would you, as somebody with great experience, what would you tell a beginner, somebody who just started? How can you establish a really good routine that you can keep up, not only for the next weeks, but possibly for next years?
I think, Mike, do you mean destroying, like, is it physical or is it mentally they lose the motivation? That's what you mean, right? If I understand right.
I think the one gains. I guess the one goes with the other, because if I really get, I would say, destroyed in the gym, I don't really feel like I want to come back.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning.
If the thing is, like, first, probably it's about the knowledge. If you're not taking the trainer and then you are going, like, as the average person, let's talk about the average person, and he goes at the gym and he or she did her homework, and she knows what exercises she want to do as a beginner. But the thing is, like, in a social media, some of the exercises it looks so easy because it's done by professionals, right? So as an average person, as a beginner, I choose some exercises which would be totally not correct for me as a beginner, and I smashing it like like crazy at the gym, and I found out that this exercising in general, it's destroying me. I mean, even though I choose it like as a beginner, it's not correct for me. So probably I'd say one of the reasons are not correctly chosen exercises. Also, the other thing is, like, I think the major thing for me is a mental thing, that when they start exercising, they start straight away with expectation, because a majority of my clients, when they are starting the exercising, the reason why they are coming, it's a visual side. So obviously, person who doesn't have a trainer, they straight away have this expectation that they should change like really quick in their visual side. And obviously, the changes comes after months. Transformation comes after years. It depends on the body as well. I mean, what weight you are wearing, and how much you weigh, or what's your composition is. Like, it's a very individual. Obviously, it doesn't come with the days. And as soon as person develops the expectation, and it's not matches with the exercising, for example, in a few weeks, and then they are starting this high motivation and very much excitement that exercising, it drops down because they have this expectation. And instead of like loving this process, instead of like really feeling each exercise, that each workout, and how great they feel after this workout, and how great they feel next day, that they have more energy, this expectation is like eating them, like with all this like beauty, what comes after exercising. Like, that's why I would say the personal trainer is really good with that, because once the clients are coming with expectations, trainers should work with them, that it's not about the visual side. The visual side, I think it's the last beneficial thing what comes with the exercising. I mean, first is the energy, first is the health, the cardiovascular system, this like risk of diabetes or high blood pressure, or I mean, it's so much things like comes with exercising, but the visual side, right? And I think this is the two major things, I mean, in my opinion, that kills the motivation and also destroys them in the gym. This is first knowledge that what exercises you should pick up as a beginner, and then the expectation.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is something very important that you mentioned. First of all, indirectly, you explain us why is it important that somebody actually has a personal trainer, because that would have been my follow-up question. If you think that having a personal trainer is a must, at least maybe in the beginning. And the second thing which you talked about was, I would say, maybe the wrong aim behind physical activity. And I believe that you're absolutely right on this. The physical appearance is basically a nice byproduct, but it should definitely not be the main motivation why people do sports, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But unfortunately, for example, in my country, the only reason why they would start the exercising is the visual side, because they don't have another knowledge that with the physical activity comes these other things, which in actual life that makes them happy, and not physical, I don't know, like tuned legs or something. Unfortunately, it's like this. But about the personal trainer, if it's must or not, obviously it's not must. There is so many like online programs like for beginners, which is like structured by personal trainers, and it's so easy to get, and it's not that high prices, so that I think everyone can afford that. Majority of people can afford that, but at least if they can't afford these online programs, or they can't have the personal trainers, they should be really careful to choose the right exercising, and the people should be always aware. I mean, everything what looks really easy on social media, because I've tried that on myself, and I've been there as well before I got to this point being a personal trainer. Whatever I thought, I would say, I mean, at home, I would thought, oh my God, that looks so easy, and then I would go to the gym, and it's really risky as well. I mean, it's also it's also very dangerous to the body, because they can do some moves which is totally like destroying for the joints, or I mean, it's very risky to do this exercising in that way. And social media, obviously, personal trainers or bloggers or fitness models, they like
Or
to
just
do
random,
some
or just random
very,
people, like 90%
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah,
population
exactly,
who have
yeah,
an Instagram.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. They like to do it like very kind of original way. Kind of they create some new exercise, and it looks cool. But
Like the crazy people who cannot just do, I don't know, a normal squat, but they have to do the squat on two balls, and they are actually carried by two dogs, and meanwhile they are brushing their teeth. Yeah, of course.
yeah, totally. That's what I mean. I mean, not everyone should try this, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is something definitely what I personally am not really a big fan of. I mean, it's amusing, but I understand how dangerous this actually can be. Is this, and I would really like your opinion about this. So we talked in the beginning about lazy people, or people who really have problem with starting somehow with physical activity. But on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who almost get sort of obsessed, right, with sports and physical activity.
Exercising,
I
yes.
mean, you have all these absolutely crazy CrossFitters, especially in the US, who are, I mean, they're in my opinion, they're destroying their bodies in a tremendous way, and maybe motivating some other people to try to actually, replicate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people like that as well. To be honest, I can't say that that's a right, and I can't say that's a wrong as well, because that thing makes this person happy. Obviously, there are some things when I look at them. I mean, it makes my heart like squeeze, because it's really shame what they are doing to their bodies. But on the other hand, because they've been exercising so much, I mean, their joints, their muscular strength is definitely different than, for example, comparing to me. And I'm sure the person who is like absolutely obsessed and who's trying some other like really hard things, he's been through this exercising quite a long time and experience. And with the age, unfortunately, it might be late, because joints might be already damaged. But with the experience, they get that they cannot follow this tempo, they cannot follow this like intensity, and then they are dropping down their like craziness. I mean, I've seen that. I've seen that how by years they've been changing their intensity, but unfortunately, it doesn't come straight away until they get this experience, until they actually understand that the body health and joint health is more important than to do these cool things right now and show the world that what you can. Unfortunately, it gets with experience, because to be honest, I personally had some obsessive things as well. Like, for example, hip thrusting, right? Let's say hip thrusting. Like, my major goal is to develop hip thrusting weight. Sometimes I catch myself in obsession that, I need to, oh my God, I need to lift this, But then next day I feel that my lower body is like really struggling. And until the reason I'm saying that I can understand those people who are getting this in obsessively, because it's a very, it is very like fun as well to get into, and it's like gambling, when you start gambling and you can't stop.
I can imagine that there is something pleasurable about a certain a certain intensity of training that, of course, first of all, physiologically, your endorphins get released, so you feel this pleasure, a sort of pleasure in the pain. And of course, you also feel maybe a little bit of a accomplishment because maybe you managed a little bit more weight than the last time, or maybe you were faster than the last time. So I completely get that. But I'm very happy that you also mentioned the possible injuries. So of course, injuries can happen because you overuse your body because of the high intensity. But during training, injuries can also happen if slowly a certain deformity can build. And what I mean by that, and I would be also very happy about your opinion, is, for example, this is especially something for the guys. When the guys leave out certain muscle groups and overtrain the others. So this happens a lot of, for example, with pectoral muscle, right? So you see a lot of guys putting a lot of weights for bench press, and then they have these hunched backs. So they're kind of like hunched over because their back muscles are absolutely not developed. And of course, the famous leg day. So when you see guys with a great upper body, but there's absolutely no muscles built in their legs.
Absolutely no legs. Totally, yes. It's so common in guys, and the same. I think it's the same applies to the people who like obsessively they want to lose the weight, but their posture is like totally, or other way around, like gain the weight and they are leaving out the posture. It's not only about the like ordinary people. It's about the trainers as well. I mean, they are working on the like, for example, what the clients are telling them. For example, clients is telling them, I don't know, I want to lose weight or gain the weight or just get me upper body, but they are not looking at the posture. I think first the fundamental thing is to look our body position, how if it's not misaligned, because if there is any misalignment, it will be anyway something will develop like in a wrong way how it should be developed, and obviously it might hit our nerve system as well, especially when it comes to something from the hip misalignment or the as you said, like crunch back. It happens a lot. Unfortunately, again, I think it's a lack of knowledge, and it's a lot of influenced by social media. I think so, because when they see this like nice pictorials or this fitness models like posing their bodies and stuff like that, or this person can I don't know, get obsessed with that to aim this the same body what they see in the social media, but they don't really realize and analyze their body positioning and their actual body, how it looks like, and what they need to fix first, and then move to the other aim, like I don't know, to increase the pectorials or to increase the upper body or stuff like that. In terms of the boys, it's like a common thing that they don't like leg day because they think that it's covered with the trousers all the time, and what they show is upper body. But obviously it's wrong, because if you're developing one muscle group and the other is left over, there might be like serious problems might start, because it's all about the body blood circulation as well. It's about the weakness in the bones. The muscles you are not working out, obviously the bones over there is also getting weaker. So it's a lot of health problems are connecting with the undeveloped muscle groups, what are left over.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I mean, latest when the boys would like to go to the beach in the summer, I mean, you will see the legs anyways. But that's only a remark on the side. I wanted to know your opinion also about the following thing. So, you hear a lot of people either on the internet or maybe sometimes in the gym. There's the famous sentence, okay, you can make one more, right? One more rep. I don't know, in whatever you do. Although it hurts, they always tell you can do one more, or let's do one more. And I always wanted to know what is right. So should you train to the point where it hurts and then you do the one more? Or do you rather go with the, I don't know if you know the guy, his name is Firas Zahabi. He's actually the personal trainer of George St. Pierre. That's a UFC fighter from Canada. Actually, very, very famous guy. And he said once in an interview that what he is a proponent of is the idea that you always train only to the point where you feel, I would say, mild pain, but just like really mildly. So you know, okay, I had enough right now, because then if you're not totally destroyed, you can go on and just train next day and then day afterwards. And what he says is, by the end of the month, you have done more reps than anybody else because you simply just did the addition game. So if you couldn't do 50, do 50. Don't do 60. And the next day you can do 50 again and your body's okay. And down the line, by the end of the month, I don't know, you have done your 1,000 reps of something. And it's so that was his take on that. And I was asking myself, well, I said that kind of sounds, I would say, logical, but is it really the thing which, down the line brings the results?
So I think it comes down of the method. What are you using during the training? Because there is this method called muscle exhaustion when you go till failure the muscle, and this method is really good for the strength and also for the hypertension, which is like growing the muscles. But obviously you can't do only this method. You have to mix it up. For example, one day if you're going harder, the next day should be lighter. But in general, I think when you're at certain age, you can't really do that failure things, especially with the really, really heavy weights. Like, I don't know, for example, me personally, I don't really develop my squats till failure, and I never do till failure because now I'm really aware of my knee joints, and I can't, and I would say that I'm very much agree with that trainer you've mentioned, that you need to do the exercises until you feel comfortable and not you feel the pain. And it's not necessary to feel the pain every single day when you exercise. And sometimes people say that, oh my God, it hurt. Maybe I wasted my time. The muscle shouldn't hurt every single time when you exercise, and it doesn't mean that it does not develop if it's not hurting. It's the other way around. I mean, it always develops. That's just thing that you are using and you are applying the different methods. And the pain thing, what you mentioned, that let's do one more rep. I mean, this is one of the methods in the fitness that calls like muscle exhaustion. Let's say that, and it depends. I mean, people apply it a lot because they think that if it fails and if muscle fails and if it really hurts, it will develop more. I think it's more psychological thing than it's even something to think.
It's already good news that I don't need to suffer every time if I go to gym.
No, definitely not. No, because I personally, I don't like the only one method in a fitness because it's a physical activity. Fitness is not like one particular thing that you should be experiencing all the time. It's a mixture of different methods, and you are choosing the one which is like comfortable for you, which makes you happy, and which makes you do more. And it makes your body develop more, gain the strength, and develop some muscles, or change the posture, or make the full transformation. I mean, you are applying the methods. What is like what's yours? It's always something that is more yours than some other things, right? And I think the methods are also like this. You apply few methods, and then you choosing one of them which makes you like really happy. And maybe some of the guys that this muscle exhaustion method is really, really good for them, and that's why they are picking them this method for them.
Yeah, I get that. One of the things which we already kind of talked a little bit about, but I really want to go a little bit deeper in is when we talk about personal trainers, especially I would like to go into the topic of quality of personal training. So from everything that you saw in your experience, what would you say, how does a layperson distinguish, you cannot be 100% sure anytime, but how does a person distinguish if a personal trainer is, I would say, a legit professional, or if it's somebody who basically started 2 weeks ago and thought whatever, I like sports, I'm going to teach other people how to do sports. So what would you say, how do you recognize if a trainer is a good trainer?
Good personal trainer, obviously the qualification is the must thing, right? Because a personal trainer is like a doctor, because you are taking human body as your responsibility. Because if you do something wrong, it's other person's body you are damaging, and it's a massive responsibility what we need to watch out, and it's a huge thing, and that's why I'm saying that qualification in this is a must, where you know anatomically what muscle group, how it works, and what the joint is, and which joint works what way, and so on and so forth. That's the, I think, must thing which every single personal trainer should have. And unfortunately, in my part of the world, like for example in Georgia. Even now, some of the gyms, they don't ask for the qualifications. If they see visually and they see the person is really in a good shape, is exercising actively, the person can become a trainer like easily. Where in Western society, it's more like regulated by law, and every single gym requires the minimum, I don't know, at least gym certificate to let you in, right? Where here it's not regulated. But okay, let's say that the qualification is a part. In my opinion, the good trainer should sell the attitude, not the attitude. I don't know the what would think that's correct word. The how I feel, I mean, the feelings and the happiness, or I don't know how, like motivation, but in other words, motivation is like too kind of cheesy word, I know, but it's like that. I think the good trainer should sell not only. Personal trainer cannot be only trainer for the moves. It should guide you with the direction of it, kind of mixture of life coach and exercising coach. I don't know, for me, because I look at this like really holistic way. I don't see myself as only like person came to my session, we did session only exercising, and that's it. Goodbye. I mean, in my sessions, we're doing a little bit of a nutrition session, a little bit of, I don't know, like feelings, a little bit of like inner works. It's so much important, because when the person comes to you as a trainer and says to you, I wanna slim down, but you see this person doesn't have nothing like extra. It's just something that she needs to work with her brain and inside, and she should do like inside work, because even though she will lose that 5 kilo, like next day she will go to the mirror and she will find something different, some other thing that she won't like in herself. So sometimes people, they don't realize that it's mostly inner work than outside work. As exercising and transformation their body, but they need to transform their mind mostly, and that's where a personal trainer steps into, and that's where I call good trainers should be able to do this part as well, to help clients to work with themselves, like to do inner works, and to somehow, I don't know, to how to say, like work with their self-esteem, and work on their self-esteem and stuff like that. Because that's why I don't like to use this word of that motivation, because motivation is too cheesy, and it's too it's not that deep as personal trainers should go, like in actual life.
Okay, no, I get you. It's so first of all, motivation, of course, has been has been used overly much in the past few years, almost everywhere. Everybody is motivated. I think that some people are way too motivated for their own good. Maybe they should calm down. Yeah, that's definitely the case. And also, I mean, if you already are that motivated, then you don't need a personal trainer to begin with. I mean, and probably you're exercising already.
I don't know. Like, it's probably my English as well, which I'm really sorry, because I can't find like a correct word that personal trainer. It's not even a motivation. It's something that you work with the person. Maybe it sounds too loud, but as a psychologist as well, obviously we're not psychologists, but the people personal trainers should be on that level of, I don't know, intelligence or knowledge or something that client can be open with him or her, because to take, like, for example, my example, I've got lots of ladies. They have, like, I don't know, problems in their life, and it's always obvious, and I can tell straight away when they come and their session is not the same like what it was before. Obviously, trainer noticed this, yes. And when I ask, are you okay? Clients should feel comfortable to I don't know, to say something or to ask for the help or to ask for the advice or something, and to be comfortable with the personal trainer. That means that the personal trainer should be on the level that they can discuss some things either openly, or he or she should be as a client show that trainer is not judging the behavior or so I don't know, maybe I'm going into deep details, but that for me is in my opinion, good trainer is to guide them not only in the moves, but show them what the healthy lifestyle is, to give them examples, like practical examples, to give them some little nutritional examples, but like in a practical way, and also like to be a teacher of the inner works. Sometimes the person have to work with themselves inside, but not only outside as a visual.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and to me, it sounds more like we could say that a personal trainer, first of all, should be a decent human being, because that's what you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you train with somebody and you realize he's not doing well, and then of course, as a empathical human being, you simply ask what's going on, and then if they find you cool enough, they will tell you. And so maybe you can just tell them a simple life advice, like a human being to another human being. So we don't need to even go into the professional stuff, like you don't need to be a psychologist to give somebody a sound advice. That's definitely the case.
Definitely, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to sound like really loud, but definitely I call good session when I see the client is leaving my session like happier than he or she came before. Before the session. And you notice it after the session when you notice in their mood and the mood is like lifted up, and that's what I call a good trainer and good session.
Wonderful. We can totally agree on that. Nino, I have one last question for you. This is basically one of the classical controversies from the world of personal training, and my favorite, because I am discussing this a lot with my friends and colleagues. So, if you compare static and dynamic stretching, what would you say of these two makes more sense, especially to you?
Makes more sense. I wouldn't say that question. I'm not questioning your opinion, but
you can rephrase it. You're the expert here.
Yeah, I think both are very important, because you need dynamic stretches when you are starting your workouts. Because you need to prepare joints, you need to prepare the muscles as well, because when you're doing dynamic stretch, obviously not only your joints but your muscles are involved as well. So when you're having, for example, I don't know, let's say leg day, it's very good to do dynamic stretch with the legs so that your muscles are prepared as well, and it's preventing the injuries during the main session and during the main workouts. Where static stretches, for example, if person, I think it depends on what my aim is, right? If person wants to be like very flexy, wants to go into splits, static stretches is a must for them. It depends on the aim, and it depends on what person wants. But I think both of them are very important in when person is exercising, and actually for everyone, because that's when you feel more mobile, and when the body has more mobility, and the body mobility is very important to do the exercises correctly. That's the reason why we need like all the stretches, dynamic or static. I wouldn't give them like which one is more important, or which one you should do and which one you shouldn't do and which you don't need. I think we need both, as a dynamic stretch and a static stretch as well.
So to sum it up, there is a sense for both, or the idea is that you should do both because they are just aiming to achieve different things.
I think it's both make sense. It's for achieving things as well, and also for body's functional moves as well, because the body has to have this functional thing, what calls mobility, which we are losing it with the age, especially, and we need to integrate like both stretching methods, like dynamic stretches and also the static stretches as well. However, statics are always more difficult.
Yeah, that's another part of suffering in the gym. Nino,
Another.
thank you very much for your time. It was really a funny and educational talk, and I hope that our listeners will find it the same. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for inviting me. That's a very interesting experience for me, and I hope your listeners will like it. And if anything, just I'm here. Okay.
This was The Voice of Medicine. Make sure you tune in next time and take care.